I'm the only guy that's a sewage salesman here tonight. So it's great to be here. Let me do a couple things. First, kind of recognize some other things that people have said, like Paige. I wasn't the greatest student here. I think it took me 7 years to get through school. I changed my... Oh, you got me beat, great. Yeah. Like Stan, great family here. I have my wife, my mother's here, my two sisters, one of my sister's daughters, her husband, and one of our nephews who just joined SIUE in the School of Engineering, and he's an electrical engineering student. So to them, great. Thank you for coming tonight. You know, it is an honor to be here with this group tonight, the whole group that's been inducted. I feel like some of the others that say we're not really worthy of this recognition, but it has been a great time here at SIUE. One of the things that I take away from SIUE is the fact that it was a very hands-on school. It wasn't what a theoretical, sit in the room, just do work, but I think the idea of the hands-on, the approach that many of the instructors here took was just great. It really helped me, you know, being the guy who worked on the cars and really had to just kind of feel it to get through. So let me talk just a moment. I won't get too much more between you and the Cardinals, but there were a few people here who were very instrumental in helping me. One was Dr. Harry Duffy. He was my advisor. He couldn't make it here tonight. He's having a little bit of medical issues, but he was one of the guys who stepped out of the box, and this is kind of the characteristics of SIUE. He stepped out of the box and created a course in what was called industrialized housing. And back in that days, we were looking at, you know, houses were stick built, you know, go buy the lumber, go buy the pieces and parts and build houses. And Harry introduced us all to the idea of actually building housing within manufacturing infrastructure and bringing it to a site so you could much more quickly build. And I thought that was an interesting way to get civil engineering students to look at things differently. Leonard Jones, who was our thermodynamics instructor, actually taught us thermodynamics while he was on leave to the Houston Space Center on the Apollo program working on heat shield development. So kind of a real hands-on thought process. A gentleman named Morris Burke was our soils instructor. He's actually, I learned from Raleigh today, is still doing work as a consultant for soils, but he would come in the nighttime and teach us soils business. And at that time, again, as Raleigh said, we were in the basement of the science building and relatively under stuff. We didn't have things to build things with, but he brought the practical approach of somebody who had been in the business and had been doing things for a number of years, and he could bring us, you know, what the real world was like. And then, of course, several of us have identified Dr. Harold Korn, who is Professor Emeritus here tonight with us, and thank you for coming. We really appreciate you taking the time. You know, he's a gentleman who came to this area, moved here from New York. He didn't have a driver's license when he got here, but he showed the spirit of somebody who took risks and took advantage of it, of opportunities. He also showed us the practical ways to solve problems. When you're dealing with structural engineering and you get some of these really esoteric ideas out in how you look at structures, it's hard to visualize, and he was a guy who could get it to visualize. And then finally, Dan Cody, who was our surveying instructor. Dan was the fellow who introduced me to the city of Edwardsville, and I was employed by the city of Edwardsville on a part-time basis while I was going through school. And after we finished school, he introduced me to the city of East St. Louis, which is where I got my first job. So you have to say that the faculty here were quite instrumental, and the way they handled the school was quite positive in how they helped us. So basically, to the school, to the faculty, to all of you who are here tonight, thank you for this honor of being part of this. I do want to recognize one other person, and that's Patrick Hundley from over here, Vice Chancellor. Patrick's the guy who Googled me and found me. Raleigh and I actually met today for the first time in, what, 35 years? So it's been quite a lot to reunite with folks, and it's been great to see you, Raleigh, and thank you, Patrick, for digging me out of the woods. Thank you all.